Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is Tuesday, January 14th, and the energies in the day adds up or reduced to number 6 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. The spirit guidance for today is the bear energy, and the bear energy comes out in the reversal position. So the bear energy coming out in the reversal position, it brings me to the thought of obstruction. It's like what's coming to my mind is dealing with a detour. That's what comes to mind with the bear energy. Because when I think of the bear energy, I always think of seasons and cycles. I think of their hibernation process and the preparation that's required to lead up to that. And yeah, seasons and cycles, systems and preparation. And for today's energy, it brings me to dealing with some kind of a detour. Some kind of a detour. But when I think of the detour that's coming to mind, it's like the detour, yes, but also too, so I think of a sewing machine as the example that's coming to mind. So with a sewing machine, in order for it to sew, you have the thread, and the thread has to pass through different sections of the machine in a perfect way in order for it to sew properly. And if you are to miss a loop or miss a section, it might sew, but the thread is going to buckle, it's going to gather, like it needs proper tension in order to work. And today's energy with the bear in the reversal position would bring me to the thought of skipping steps to trying to achieve something. And yes, you might be getting an outcome, but not the outcome that you want. So today's energy will bring me to the thought of dealing with an unwanted outcome. And the unwanted outcome might be due to skipping steps, avoiding the entire process. Also too, with today's energy being the 14th, the number 1 is the I am, the number 4 is stability and security, and 1 + 4 is 5. And between yesterday and today's energy, we might find ourselves needing to skip steps, but today we'll be feeling the consequences of it. The consequences of it in the sense that today's energy to me would remind me of possibly Sunday's energy, but today's energy might feel a little bit more intense to a certain extent than Sunday's energy. And for today's energy, there's some things about today's energy that feels overwhelming or unfair, but unfair in the sense that with the moon in Leo opposes Pluto in Aquarius. And from that opposition, the moon in Leo is nurtured by self. The moon in Leo is nurtured by the inner child. The moon in Leo can also be self-absorbed to the fact that, it's not me, it's them. It's not me, it's them. Trust me, it's them, it's not me. And when we come from that space, lacking accountability, it's not me, it's them. How do we grow? Instead we could find ourselves feeling bitter because it's not me, can't be me, trust me, it's them. And that's where it's like we could find ourselves feeling like, this would be different if only they would cooperate, because we're nurtured by ourselves. So we're only seeing ourselves. And from only seeing ourselves, this is where we would lack we could lack the compassion from seeing other people's perspective or where they're coming from to even take accountability in certain situations and seeing a thing for what it is. That's one aspect of it. But when I look at, say, the opposition between the moon and Pluto, again, the moon and Leo, we're nurtured by ourselves and our inner child, our ability to be creative and expressive. We're nurtured at the thought of having courage. But most importantly, Leo is, it deals with the sun, the identity, the self, nurtured by the self. With Pluto and Aquarius in that opposition, it brings me to this pressure that some of us might be feeling, because it's almost like being forced to put other people's priorities above your own. Is that opposition between Pluto and the moon. Being forced to put other people's priorities above your own. Even feeling forced to put outside priorities above that of your family. And with this energy here, I feel like you never want to do that. You always want to take care of yourself first so that you could then be of service to others. Hey guys, I want to share with you 7 benefits of getting a numerology natal chart awareness coaching session. The first one is understanding your internal programming. The second one is becoming more clear about your purpose and passion. The third is setting goals for success. The fourth is awareness of strength and areas of improvement. And the fourth one was foundational for me, because whenever you're aware of your weaknesses, no one can use them against you. And when you're aware of your strengths, that makes you unstoppable. And that is why I say self-awareness is a superpower. The 5th benefit is removing obstacles. We first have to become aware of a thing in order to remove it in the first place. The 6th benefit is understanding relationship dynamics. We don't have to change the people in our lives. We have to become aware of ourselves and start from there, and everything changes. And the 7th benefit is upcoming transits, if that's something that you would like to look into because you're planning for something or you just want to be aware. So if you're interested in booking a numerology natal chart awareness coaching session or learning more about it, the link to book or the link to send me an email for questions are both within the description box below. So throughout, this 20-year transit of Pluto and Aquarius, we'll always get to a time where whenever there's planets in Leo, there's always going to be that opposition between what's inside and what's outside. What we identify with and the collective. It's like Leo is I and Aquarius is we, but don't get it twisted. Both Aquarian and Leo energy deals with I. It's just that Aquarius's I can only come through we. When I say Aquarius's I can only come through we, what I mean by that is Leo's energy. So when I say Aquarius and Leo is ruled by the sun. So Leo and Aquarius to me are like siblings. They're very similar. But because Leo being ruled by the sun, imagine the sun as the father, it's the God that, is the God that is the father of both Leo and Aquarius. But Aquarian energy would be the outside child. And Leo energy is, the child that everybody knows that the sun fathered. But Aquarian energy is nobody knows that the sun fathered Aquarian energy, because while the sun is with Leo, Aquarius energy is left in darkness. So with that darkness energy of the Aquarian energy, that's where Leo is used to being seen just because of his existence, is used to being praised and complimented and all of that. Where Aquarian energy, on the other hand, will feel very uncomfortable with being seen and complimented and praised for no reason, because it wasn't conditioned to be that, because that wasn't its experience, where instead its experience came from being of service. It got those recognition, compliment, and praise through being of service. So it feels, it wants to be seen, but feels uncomfortable when being seen, unless You're seeing it for its service and good work that it does. So at the opposition, it feels like there's a push and pull between me and we. And I feel like first you have to be honest and take care of me so that you could have the strength and the energy to put out and give to the we. Also, too, with that opposition energy, it brings me to us running into situations where there'll be manipulation in the sense that someone making you feel guilty to focus on yourself because there's more pressing matters happening where the we are concerned. And the pressing matters are happening where the we are concerned, but if your cup is half full, it's like, how could you possibly show up and be of service to the we? And if you're showing up and being of service to the we from a depleted place, then your service will probably not be as beneficial as it could be. Like, I think of people who really meant to help but showed up and were abusive and negative and left a really negative impact because they weren't in the position to show up and serve. They weren't fully in the position to do whatever it is that they tried to do. And instead of coming from a space of, coming from the heart space, they came from a place of guilt and what others expected. So when they showed up, they made a mess. So it's important with that opposition energy to first take care of me, yourself, and get energized from that so that you could be of service to the we, to the whole. Because throughout this Pluto-Aquarian transit, there'll be a lot of situations where things are presented to us where the we is in trouble. And from the we being in trouble, there's some people that they thrive off of chaos and excitement, and they'll want you to, they'll want you to be on top. They'll want you to match their energy. And you might not have the energy to match their energy because their energy might come from them being so used to already neglecting themselves, and they thrive off the chaos and the excitement and the intention of everybody looking at them as if they're helping, saving the world, or doing whatever it is that they're doing. When nobody's looking, they're not doing any of that. Only when the lights come on, they're actually doing that. And then they make you feel like you're not doing anything or you're not doing enough. And really, they're not doing anything, only when the lights come on. And I'm sure all of us probably know a coworker like that or a family member like that. They get up and they take on projects that nobody asked them. Or maybe you might be like that. I know I used to be like that. You get up and you take on responsibilities that no one asked you, and then turn around and make it seem like everybody else is awful because they're not as passionate as these projects that you're taking on, not realizing that it benefits you to take on these projects and get dramatic about them because it might be tied into your self-worth, and their self-worth ain't set up that way. So while your self-worth might benefit from showing up and taking on responsibilities no one asked you, they ain't set up that way. But not even just that, they got other things going on in their lives, and just because they're not talking about it don't mean that, everything is perfect. And instead, we might say they're selfish, they're this, they're that. No, they're actually practicing self-love. They're actually putting themselves first by saying, no, I can't take that on. No, I can't do that. My children need me. My parents need me. Or they're not given an excuse as to why they can't. They're just saying no. So when it comes to today's energy, it brings me to the importance of being honest with yourself when it comes to what you can take on and what you cannot. Yes, it's important for us to, be empathetic when it comes to others, but first we have to extend that empathy towards ourselves in order to genuinely be able to give it to others. I think of the person who is hell-bent that they're so in love with this person when they don't even love themselves. It's like, how do you not love yourself, but you're convinced that you're in love with that person while they're mistreating you or whatever it is that you're going through? That's not love. That's a combination for me of low self-esteem and delusion. Because if the self-esteem was there, even if the delusion was there, if the self-esteem was there, maybe you would trick yourself once, but the self-esteem would wake us up. So when it comes to today's energy, it brings me to the importance of taking care of ourselves. You know, we might experience some kind of a delay or detour, and the delay or detour comes back to nurturing and taking care of ourselves. Mars is the ruler of the day, and Mars is in Cancer. And with Mars in Cancer, it's also being opposed by Pluto and Capricorn. I mean, Pluto in Aquarius and the Sun in Capricorn. So it brings me to, you know, our public self and our private self. And we have to, you know, strengthen our private self, strengthen our inner world. And from strengthening our inner world, our outer world will benefit and match that. I was having a conversation with a friend who, you know, takes pride on being a really good mom and wants to know, you know, is always looking at, say, her child's placements and, you know, seeing what they need based on that. But I personally believe, you know, when you look at someone's placements, I feel like our placements already show, it's all, you know, when they say it's written, I feel like our placement shows that it's written, and it's either we have the higher frequency of what's written or the lower frequency of what's written. But when it comes to that parent, I feel like if a parent was to commit on being the best and healthiest version of themselves, spiritually healthy, emotionally healthy, and physically healthy. If the parent is spiritually, emotionally, and physically healthy, then that's going to trickle down and influence the child to be the best version of what's written for them. And I say what's written for them because when I look at charts and I'll see like people go through certain things in their lives, and some things are just not positive, and you'll see a pattern where it's like, okay, if a pattern that I'll speak on is, say, Lilith, you know, a person might have Lilith in Scorpio or the 8th house, and immediately that will show a pattern of some kind of sexual trauma. And it's like, why is there a pattern that whenever this is there, this always happens? So it's like it just shows to me that when it comes to the things that we go through and the things that happen, I don't believe that they're happening to us. I feel like they happen to help us to wake up to who we are. So it's like, imagine we come into this realm and we forget where we came from and why we're here. And to me, the pain, the things that we go through that stand out to us, they help us to wake up to the truth of ourselves and remember why we're here, if that makes sense. When it comes to the tarot, we have the 8 of Cups in the upright position. With the 8 of Cups in the upright position, immediately my attention went to the phase of the moon, looking like a new moon. And I look at the person on the card and they're walking towards the new moon, and there's a body of water in the distance. So to me, it's almost like walking towards this new version of oneself. And in the process of walking towards this new version, we're walking away from something very stable with the 8 of Cups. Walking away from a cycle that is familiar, probably a generational cycle. Walking away from something that might feel like this is all that I know, but I know it's like walking away from all that we know, a cycle that we're used to, a way of doing things that we're used to. But at the same time, it's like, I want something else and I'm willing to take chances going after something else. I feel like when it comes to today's energy, there's that push and pull within us as there's a desire for better, and the desire for better calls us to walk away from the familiar, material, spiritual, emotional things that no longer work. And we're going towards the unknown, and going towards the unknown is scary. But then there's also this material side of today's energy. The material side of today's energy will have us caught up on the way how things look. The way how things look in the sense that, you know, a person might be caught up on, okay, their age, and being caught up on their age and what it means to be single at their age, or what it means to not have this or that at their age, and caught up on the material side of things so much to where they start questioning if they should go after what's in their heart, or if they should stay stagnant in a situation based on the material side of things. It could be your status, your title, your money, but there's some kind of material side of thing in relation to your peers or in relation to society standards and goals that society sets for us, you know, so there's some irritants coming up around the material side of things and feeling incomplete based on not meeting the needs on some material side of things that you probably didn't even put for yourself, but society put for you. Today's one of those days where you have to take a step back and question, redefine what it is that you want for yourself. Redefine the goals for yourself. But as you redefine new goals for yourself, instead of setting goals, you want to set up systems. Systems meaning processes, how you're going to go about creating the new things that you want for yourself, what it is that you should want for yourself, and not what society says you should have. Because today is one of those days where you want to avoid social media and things like that if you're not where you should, even though today's energy, you know, there's a social aspect to it. So some of us will find ourselves wanting to be social, wanting to connect with others, but something around the being social might create triggers for some of us, as those triggers bring up feelings of unworthiness. But there's a prize within those feelings of unworthiness if they do come up. And the prize within the feelings of unworthiness for me has everything to do with redefining success for yourself. Because today is one of those days where you could find yourself feeling bummed out about not being or having something that you don't even really want to begin with. You've never wanted, but society says this is a standard, and you look around and you realize that you don't have the standard, so it must mean something about you. And this is where you have to snap yourself out of the sleepwalk and remind yourself, I've never wanted this to begin with. It was never a goal or a priority of mine. Maybe because of the family I was born into, I don't know, but I never wanted this or that. So why am I feeling guilty about not wanting this or that? Do I truly want this or that? Or am I feeling how society wants me to feel because society will benefit from me buying into this dream, which will cost me time, money, and energy, which will allow them to own me if I choose to buy into this thing that they're trying to sell me that doesn't really make sense for me, but everybody else is doing it. You know, when it comes to today's energy, why do you want what you say you want? Is it because everybody else has it? Why do you want the things you want? Is it because it'll make others happy, or it'll mean something about you? Will it complete you in some way? Because if that's the case, it'll never complete you. You'll achieve it and feel confused. You'll get that perfect looking spouse, and it's like you're married to a blow up doll because, the connection's not there. They look good, but the connection's not there. And you thought that would complete you. And it's like, yeah, in pictures and on social media, y'all look good. But when the doors close and you guys are together by yourself, it's not what you thought it was. Same thing with the career, same thing with the home, same thing with the car. Today's energy to me helps us to stop and take a look at the things we have and ask ourselves, what inspired me to go after this? What made me want this? Is this what I really want? And if not, what is it that I actually want? It was a pleasure sharing this message with you. Before you go anywhere, please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a white heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.